Welcome to Quantum Quest Conversations. I'm your host, Megan,
And I'm your host, Heidi.
the podcast where curious conversations lead the way into awakening, growth, and infinite discovery.
All right, you guys, welcome to our third episode, Quantum Quest Conversations with Meghan and Haydee. We're so grateful that you're here listening to us. And today we have prepared for you manifestation. And it might be not the typical manifestation that you're used to listening to or what you read on most books, but it's going to be interesting. So sit down or go get your tea or coffee and get ready.
Yeah, so we're taking it from a different angle with manifestation. I feel like manifesting is just like this hot topic, this word that you see on social media all the time. It makes it almost seem like too good to be true. Can you truly just wave this magic wand and manifest everything in your life? Can you all of a sudden just become a millionaire? And that's what it kind of makes it seem like on these social media. I've seen it on Reels. I've seen it, talked about on podcasts. And I think today what we want to kind of focus on is we're breaking it down into what I think a lot of people mistake manifesting with like fantasizing. So that's kind of how I see it. I see some people that fantasize about what they want in their life and they think that that is going to get them to that next step. But I think the piece that they're missing, like between fantasizing and manifesting, is fantasizing, you're not really putting the work in because there is work that you have to put in behind manifesting. I think fantasizing is kind of avoiding that work and you're just kind of dreaming about, oh, wouldn't it be cool if this life, turned out so, magical, but they're not truly believing that they can make that happen. And I think that's the difference between manifesting. You have to put work in for yourself. Like you have to make changes, you have to take step forward, you have to have faith in order to manifest that life that you want. So yeah, I want to kind of dive into that and the differences. So Heidi, what's your thoughts on it?
Well, I think that we all have fallen into the trap of listening to those videos because there's so many things we want to manifest, and some things are unselfish, some other things can be selfish. It can be success, a new job, a new partner. It could be so many things. And so, yeah, I have read The Secret, for example. I saw the documentary movie, and so I thought it was interesting. But then now that we are a little bit deeper into the true spirituality, you start questioning yourself is why do you want those things? Do they resonate or do I resonate with those things? um is it going to implicate changing something for some other person or your children or anybody around you. And so we have to ask a lot of questions first, but the main one is, why do I want it?
Yeah.
You know? And so I think that when we make the mistake of saying, oh, I want to manifest, just right there, you're on a place of lack because you are pretty much thinking, oh, I need to do certain steps in order to get something. And we go and buy vision boards and work on them and make everything beautiful and pretty. But the reality is, when we have a vision board in our minds already, and we know what we want unselfishly, and we put the work towards it, we should know that we are already granted that, because that's how things work. It's not from a place of lack, but from a place of knowing. And so I think it is the most important thing is know that anything that we want, it's already within us. There's no separation, there's unity in everything. And so if it was accessible for someone else, it might be, it not might be, it will be available to us. It's just why and how we need to be ready as well. We cannot ask for things like a better partner, for example, if we haven't worked in our own selves, because we are always going to attract what it's already in our frequency. We can't attract something that's outside our frequency unless we elevate it. And this is not unattainable. Like it might sound like, oh, how do I raise my frequency? Well, just be positive, be grateful, be thankful, and be kind to other people. Just simple acts like that will raise your vibration. What do you think, Megan?
Yeah, I like everything that you were saying as usual. Something that you said triggered me to there's a saying that it's having is the evidence of wanting. It was by an author. Her name is Caroline Elliott. And she always would say that, like, what you have is because you wanted it at some point. So just think about that. That's very deep. Think about everything that you have in your life right now. At some point, you wanted it for whatever reason. So, yeah, manifesting is kind of as simple as that. It's what you already kind of said is that we can have anything that we want. It's already within us. And it's so true. But what people don't understand about that is that it's probably buried very, very deep under a lot of, emotional trauma. I don't know. I know even trauma is a word that a lot of people have been using a lot lately, and people might look and be like, I've never had like trauma in my life. Trauma doesn't have to be some,
Dramatic, right?
yeah, so traumatic. Trauma really could be just, it could be in the simplest little act that happened to you when you were a kid that you were told no and it just stuck with you and it made you not want to maybe speak up about that thing again. It could, when we say like trauma, it really does not have to be so dramatic or traumatic. But there are things that are holding us back. So fear is holding us back from being able to manifest and get what we want in this life. So it's being able to kind of clear all that clutter out and all the old beliefs and then find underneath there, oh wow, there is a really like strong-willed, person that wants to go after all of these goals and dreams that I'm putting on these vision boards. So it's not just, fantasizing. There is some steps that you have to take and that you have to work on yourself in order to kind of go after what you want. But I truly do believe in manifesting. I think you can manifest anything that you want in your life. Just like Heidi said, I 100% believe that it's already within us. If we truly want it, we can have it. And again, it's a matter of just working on yourself and, becoming that best version of yourself and kind of deconditioning everything that's been put upon you, whether society, family, religion, anything like that, to find out who you truly are and go after whatever you want in this life.
Yeah, that's perfect because what you said, deconditioning, I was going to talk about social conditioning because it is not just our parents that condition us when we're little. Like just the mere fact, hey, don't touch that toy. It's not yours. You start separating and you start immediately thinking, okay, so that's for them, this is for me. And then later on in school, there's always separation. And the more the separation that contributes for to the idea of they can get it, I can't get it. And
Hmm.
it's everywhere. It's the news, it's TV, it's everything. And everything is attainable. Everything is. But we have to be mindful and careful of, again, and I insist, of why is it that we want the things that we want? And does it come from a place of trying to compensate? So you gotta be mindful if it's coming from a pain of a place of compensation. Do you feel less than? And so by having a bigger and better house, would you feel more fulfilled and more important? Because if that's the reason why, then things are not gonna stay. You have to resonate with everything. And so yeah, social conditioning is it's very important. And we have to, I don't think we have to fantasize and tell our children, yeah, everything is yours, but teaching them that it's not that everything is theirs and that they can do anything, is that just that idea of everything around them is already theirs. They don't have to work harder. Like if you see, if we are one, like the law of one that says that we are all one, right? So that means that nothing belongs to to every person individually, but everything is already ours. I don't know if I make sense with that, but if you go with that mindset, say everybody has a land, right? When you go for a trip with your kids and you see farms and you see everybody has their own ownership. Was it really? Because when we pass, we don't take anything with us. So is it really theirs? No, it's not. It's for us to see it, for us to appreciate the landscape. For so in reality, everything is ours. And I hope I don't sound like a crazy person talking, but that's the way I see things. And so when you don't want, when you're not in the place of wanting, it's easier to attain things. I don't know how to explain it, but it works. I remember when years and years ago, I had this is my second marriage. So during my first one, I remember I was cleaning my house and listening to the radio, and I was already divorced. And I remember my daughter told me like 2 weeks before that, oh, I want a bike. And I thought, man, I have to save for that bike. And on the radio, there was this show raffling two bikes for children. And I immediately knew those bikes are going to be mine. And they were raffling two, but at different times. And so it said, just call, leave your message, and then we'll let you know tomorrow. And so I did, but with the certainty that bike it's mine. And lo and behold, next day they called me and the bike was mine. Then the next week, when they raffled the second bike, I was like, well, I have two kids. I want one for each one. So that bike is going to be mine. And same thing happened. I mean, it was in the city. There's so many people. There was so many calls. It's just when you know, you know. And it's a feeling in the gut. But if you want like, man, I wish I could have that bike. Yeah, it's not going to be yours. It's just not, because it takes so much more of an effort when you are doubting and you're turning yourself into a tiny little bit of a possibility, and so it's the trust, like Jesus said. And when you ask, and I'm gonna shorten that quote because it has more words in between, but in the end he said, and ask as if you have already been given what you are asking. And so he's not saying ask and please beg the Father and he'll give it to you if you beg around 2 years, or every night for a month. Or no, he said, and when you ask, know that it's been given to you already. And so I do believe that. And so in my family they tease me a lot because they say, like, when you manifest, you manifest. And it's true, but I can't explain nothing else but saying it has to come from a place of gratitude. Every time my husband does the Super Bowl, um, how's it called when you like put your name in a little square and then they raffle the numbers? You guys know what I'm talking about. But every year I win a lot when I participate, and I even write it down on my phone how many times I'm going to win and the approximate amount. And so I watch the game in trust. I don't doubt it. I just kind of smile inside knowing that that's going to be mine. And it happens. And then everybody's upset at me because I won. And then I show, look, it's the picture with the date and the time and everything. And they cannot comprehend it. But it's because I don't think I was doing it to earn money. I was earning it to prove a point that if you trust, it's going to be there for you. And so, yeah, I don't know if you have experiences like that, Megan.
Yeah, I was just thinking about what you said. It is about like intention. And I think that's the piece a lot of people miss with manifesting is that like it has to be like in your like full body. Like you have to know it is going to happen. You can't have any ounce of doubt like linger in. You have to be able to like even vision it, like be able to see it, feel like what it's gonna feel like when it happens. Like you have to have this like knowing, like I know this is going to happen. So it's like you have to feel it in your heart, like it's just intentional and in this knowing. Um, and it's just so different than hoping and wishing on a prayer that something's gonna happen. That it's just such a big difference. And it is hard to explain to people that haven't experienced manifesting because they'll be like, oh, but I did really want it. But it's like, did you like, did you feel it? Like, is it coming from a good place? You know, is it coming from love and yeah, just like is there heart behind it? Um, I I know someone that constantly is like fantasizing or wishing that they won the lottery. Well, actually, I the where I used to work as a teenager, that whole community, they were very big into getting lottery tickets like every single day, like multiple tickets. And they would get so mad like when they wouldn't win and they would get, one number off and they would come in and well, and make them want to go do it again because they were just one number off. But you could just even back then when I didn't know anything about manifesting, like I could tell like they didn't have heart behind it. Like I could tell like this isn't like I always had this knowing that they weren't ever going to win. Like they're just gonna keep playing and keep playing but they're gonna keep getting kind of suckered back into doing it because they were just so close each time. But and I think part of it they were doing it for fun too. It was just like entertainment. But there are people that genuinely like truly want it. But it's not coming from a good place like what you talked about. And it's more just like a wishful thinking than manifesting. But I know you and I talked on the phone before this call about people want to manifest, money or big houses and cars. And, that's usually what you think of when you're thinking about like manifesting. But you had said something to me about, a lot of people don't want to manifest what can actually get you to that new car. Like being able to like us, like we were able to start this podcast. That was a manifestation. Like I went and got the equipment. I knew I had this vision. I believed it was going to happen. Like I remember telling a mentor, she went and asked everybody in the class, like, what do you see yourself doing? And everyone was saying like more like spiritual things, like being a medium and like yes, like I do that, but I'm like, I'm a podcaster. Like, I know I'm gonna do a podcast. I knew it and I believed it and it happened. But I also feel like there was steps that I had to take, like, to be brave enough. I had to shed some old beliefs to be brave enough to, get on the microphone and share my story. So I think there's a lot of steps in between just being handed, this miracle, whatever you manifested. Um, there can be, steps in between.
Yeah, you just said they want to go straight to what they want, but they don't want the process, right?
Yeah.
And there is so much fun in the process that there
Oh,
you
yeah.
can learn so much in the process. And I think when you go through hard, not necessarily hard work, because it can be smart work, not necessarily hard. But when you put your effort into things, that's the excitement. That's when you value it more. That's why there are so many lottery winners where they follow them to see how everything went after the fact. And then most of them end up losing everything,
Yeah.
you know? And so when you really enjoy the process and when you know what you're putting for what you want, it gets so much interesting. And another thing is, to me, the most powerful thing you can have is gratitude. And I remember my mom used to tell me every night when you pray, be grateful, say thank you to God for the things that you have and the things that you don't have. And so I used to wonder, why is my mom like, I never asked her directly, but then it came to me, well, I'm grateful because I am not hungry right now, you know?
Oh.
So it's what you don't have too, or my children are not sick at the moment, or I have health, or and I don't have an illness, or something silly as I don't have a mean mother-in-law, something like that, you know? And so you gotta be really attentive to what you have and what you don't have and be grateful for that. Sometimes not having a lot is a blessing.
Hmm.
It's a blessing because it makes you appreciate life more. And when you don't have, and all of a sudden you have, like, I'm going to tell you a story. So during my first marriage, I was lacking, even though I was a good manifestator person. I still, my ex-husband, and I appreciate him so much that I don't want to talk badly about him. Um, but you know what? Sometimes there was not enough at home. And so I appreciate those moments now because it's not the same looking at an empty fruit bowl, wishing to have an apple to eat, as having one full of everything, you know? So not having can be a blessing because it teaches you to appreciate when you do have. And so I think that to me, the first step for manifesting successfully will be having a grateful heart. You
Hmm.
know, and you are grateful, you're not looking at the lack, you're looking at the have, what you possess, everything around you, just having a bed at night where you can rest your body, having a pillow where you can lay your head, or having, you know, your children there with you, healthy. I mean, there's so many, 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 many things. It's like when you are with your body's healthy, you're not grateful for it. You just take it for granted and you're doing things. But as soon as you get hurt, you're like, oh my goodness, all your attention goes to that part of the body that it's hurting. And so sometimes, as simple as it is, but just being healthy is just such a gift. And so, yeah, gratitude for me for what you already have and for what you don't have goes a long way. So that
Yeah.
for us will be the most important thing for manifesting. What do you think?
Yeah, that's good advice. I think about it's really funny because I didn't really know the word manifesting. Like, this is very brand new to me, using this word. But I look back in my life and I see how I manifested like everything that I have. And I didn't even know what I was doing. And sometimes I wish I could go back to those days because, again, social media is so flooded with these like quick fixes of how to manifest your life. and it is very, very easy to get sucked into them. And I start questioning myself, like, am I doing it right? Or, oh my gosh, I'm not, that's wrong. I gotta do it this way. I have to vision it this way. I have to write it down. I have to, and it's like, no, I don't. I wish I could just go back to it before I even knew what the word was because I was already doing it without even knowing it. I remember um, living in my old house and there was a trail by it. I would walk this trail every day, and I was single. And I mean, I would get lost in my mind walking on this trail, but I would just it it actually like it wasn't just fantasizing. I mean, I was drawing up plans of what I wanted my family to look like, who like what type of guy. And it was so funny because I never could see his face in my images. I just knew the feeling I wanted. I knew, what type of guy I wanted to marry. And I would just imagine all of it and my kids and my life and the house and job. And it is crazy how it just at how many hours I put on that trail, but how everything I would get lost in these fantasies. But again, I don't really think they were fantasies because it was different. It wasn't just like, oh, I wish this would happen. It was like I saw it. I had visions. It was in my heart. I had this knowing that this was going to be my future. And it was. And I, ended up marrying my best friend. He's exactly what I pictured, my life to be like. And even like my kids, like down to like, I remember wanting, because this is later, like after I married my husband, he's African American. And I was, I just love my eyes. Like it's just something I do. I love my eyes. And I was thinking, oh man, like, like I want one of my kids to have my eyes. And I put it out there, but I believed it. I was like, my one of them's going to have it. And and sure enough, like it is the craziest thing that we have like one kid that was like came out like blonde hair, blue eye. And you're like, how? But I manifested that. I know I did. Even like I remember like manifesting like my oldest, so me and my husband have four kids together and I have two stepkids. I remember thinking like, man, sometimes like firstborn children can be, I don't know, spoiled, I guess. I don't know. And I just didn't want that like for my firstborn child. I don't know why, but that it was just something that I like imagined. And sh that's now she's not technically the first because I have two stepkids. So I feel like she didn't take on those like stereotypical like firstborn child.
Traits.
And again, I don't think I was coming from a bad place. I think I was just coming from like I just didn't want that for somebody. Like and it didn't happen. And I was just like I just look back at my life and I'm like I I wanted all of this and I have it. Even the house that we have now, I remember like just imagining it. Like I knew exactly what I wanted, and it was a very tough market. And I was 9 months pregnant, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, like, are we ever gonna get this house? But I really did surrender and let go and was like, okay, God, like you got this. And after putting so many, I mean, offer after offer after offer, all of them fell through. And then we walked into the most perfect house. I was like, this is it. I know this is it. And the lady didn't take any showings. She only let us see it. And she also had six kids and just said we could have it. Like these things work out and they have a way of just happening in ways that we can't even imagine. But I think it's just knowing it is going to happen and surrendering and not worrying about how and all the different steps that's gonna take. That's the other thing about manifesting. I think people want to manifest things, but then they want to still stay in control. They want to
Mhm.
like think that they can manipulate the situation or still control the situation. And it could be thrown right on your front of your face and you're pushing it away because it's not how you thought it was going to happen for you. So I think that's a separate part about manifesting is you have to surrender. You have to let go and just trust. Fully just trust.
Yes, I agree with what you're saying. Surrender is very important because that means, like that exercise that they do at companies sometimes, where they put you in a circle and you have to like fall into someone else's arms, and that's trust, that's surrendering.
Yeah.
You just know that you're gonna be caught and not just let flat on the floor. And so at surrender, it's so very important. And so I think that would be our number two important step for manifesting. And then I think that the third one for me would be question the reasons why you want the things. Like we were talking earlier. Is it from because you want to feel better to compensate? When you truly work in yourself and you go deep down, you know, that's why it's so important to meditate. But if you don't meditate, like sitting down, you can do it while you're doing your chores or while you're driving home. There's just so many ways that you can go intrinsically and just think about why is the reason why you want things, and be very honest with you. I mean, there's nobody else listening, so you don't have to be embarrassed admitting of why. It's just between you and God. And when you find the right reasons, that's when manifesting is going to come the easiest. It's not going to come from a place of negativity or selfishness. It's just not going to stick. And if it does, because I truly believe that there's people that get what they want, but they use it for the wrong reasons. Well, a lot of negativity is going to follow with that. There's just not 2 plus 2 doesn't equal 25. It's just not going to bring the right energy within. And so you got to be very mindful of how and why you're manifesting. And I really like the story what you told about the house, Megan, because you said a lot of offers fell through, but when you went to the right house, you knew that that was the house, and you have a gorgeous house with a beautiful backyard. And so, I mean, I haven't been to your house, but I've seen the pictures, and so I think it's beautiful. It's gorgeous, and so what it's not yours, it's not going to pass you by. And I truly believe that sometimes we don't get some things that we really want because it's not meant for us. And it's okay. You got to trust and just, like Megan said, surrender and just know that when it's your turn, it's going to be yours, not before and not after. And so, what do you think, Megan?
I think the next thing would be like setting a clear intention. I think sometimes we're so wishy-washy and we kind of think that we want one thing and then maybe the next day we start second guessing it and not wanting it. And the universe hears it all. Like what we're manifesting, like it everything that we say is being put out there. So we have to be very clear with what we want and not try to change it or second guess it or think, oh, maybe that really isn't for us anymore. Or, I don't know, try to keep adding on to things. Like, I think we had to be clear and then kind of just let it go. Like, like imagine, feel, know what we want, and then let it go. Like give it to the universe and just let the magic happen and kind of wait for those signs of either, next steps or it kind of happening. Um, Yeah, I think being very clear with our words, and I know I am definitely one that has a scattered brain sometimes, and I'll think I want something and then I second guess it, and it's like already being a work in progress and I'm messing things up. I gotta just be clear, something I know I need to work on. What do you think the
And
next thing is?
I think just put the work, you know, just work for it. Um, Not everything is gonna be a winning lottery ticket or just like manifesting a bike and it's just gonna be yours. There's a lot of things you have to believe in yourself and put the work towards it and see yourself doing it and see yourself smelling it, touching it. And it's funny because I know somehow I'm gonna end up in a house where I can feel the floor is heated, and I always like I know it, and I see myself opening the fridge in the specific kitchen, and I don't know how that's gonna happen, but I know it's gonna happen. And so just put the work, and believe in yourself.
Going to touch base on the work for it because I think that's what people don't understand. I guess I really do like and agree with what you said about that because we can manifest a house and okay, yeah, we could win it in a lottery or something like that, or someone could sign one off to us, that we weren't expecting. So, there's those possibilities. However, if you are trying to manifest some big mansion, more than likely there's going to be work that you have to do to get that house. And so the opportunity of a job might be falling on your plate and you're ignoring it because, you're so focused on, when am I going to get this house? I've been manifesting this house. And it's just like, different opportunities could come to you to get you to that house. But a lot of times it's work. Like we have to, put work into it. And that's funny that you said that you know what like your next house is and that you can feel the floors. I know my next house is going to be a lake house and I see myself on the dock all the
Oh
time.
my God, my dream too. I love it.
Yeah, and like
Let's
I could
join forces.
yeah, yes, let's do it. But I know that I have to put work into my business to get to that next step of getting that house. Um, Again, maybe we win the lottery and that's how we get it. If that's the way it's going to happen, it's going to happen. But realistically, I believe that I am meant to work for that house and that is okay. And it's work that I enjoy and I love. And I'm gonna be, you mentioned this earlier, like enjoy the process. Like I'm enjoying the process. I know it's not gonna happen overnight, but I am 100% enjoying this process, but I know I'm gonna be in that lake house.
Man.
Yeah.
And
So what's
so
the last step?
for me would be share what you have. And because when you share, so after you manifest and say you already have what you manifested, now this is the most important. This is like cherry on top. You gotta share. You have to share because what it's not shared, it's stagnant. What you share flows, and it keeps bringing more and more and more, and you gotta believe it that it will. You don't have to be like, if I'm gonna share this, then I'm gonna end up with half of what I have. No, it keeps coming. It's flowing. It's like when I've heard sometime last year that when you have a full closet but you want new clothes, just empty some. Like get rid of some, donate it, gift it to someone else, offer it, you know. But when you start like getting a lot of things and hoarding things, well, it's gonna come to a point that where are you gonna put everything?
Right.
It's just not going to, you're not gonna enjoy it anymore. And I guess just a bonus is take care of what you have. As a very simple example, it's I always iron my clothes and I put my everything my closet is by colors, by seasons, whatnot. And so my daughter sometimes tease me is because like, Mom, your closet's organized. Well, when you buy a shirt, it's because you saw it at a store, nicely pressed, on a mannequin, looking right and sharp. That's why you got it. If you would have gotten it all wrinkled, all like a corn, you wouldn't have even seen it. That's the reality. So when you have your things that you work hard for, that you manifested, take care of them. Take care of them and share them. That'll be my last advice.
Yeah, I think you have to declutter in so many ways to be able to manifest. I think you need to declutter your mind, your thoughts. You need to
Mhm.
declutter, old beliefs. You need to declutter your house, make your closet, your car. You need to appreciate what you already have, like you mentioned earlier, and you have to feel good in your own space and what you already have, so then you can get that next step. I 100% believe that. It's really funny. I didn't even notice I was doing it until today, but every time before we record, I like can't record until I clean like around me. So I'm like cleaning this room before we record, and it sounds so silly. I was even asking my daughter, like, I need you to take these things out of here because mommy's about to record. And it was obviously nowhere near where the camera is, but that's not even, I have to feel clean. I have to feel like decluttered. I have to feel light and good about myself. So all of that goes such a long way. So yeah, we're always on the same page. I agree with everything you said.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Okay, so after all that talk, to summarize, which are the 6 steps that we consider to be most important? Number 1, being grateful. Number 2, surrender. Number 3, questioning the reasons why you want what you want and be honest to yourself. Next is set clear intention. Next is put work to attain it. And then the last one will be share it and take good care of it because you work for it.
Yeah. Thank you for recapping those. And just to our audience, just remember all these social media reels and posts that you see about manifesting. Really learn what manifesting is for your own sake. Manifesting honestly can be very easy. That it's meant to be that. But there is work that you have to do within yourself to make it that easy. So just be aware when you sometimes see these quick fixes on social media. Do the research yourself and truly learn what manifesting is and not just fantasizing. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you next time.
Thank you so much for being part of today's Quantum Quest. We hope this conversation awakens something new within you, a spark, a question, a remembering. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. And until next time, keep exploring with an open mind and an open heart. Bye for now.